For Black History Month, we've proudly brought you stories about amazing people, neighborhoods, businesses here in Southern California. Another special one for you today. Tony?
Yeah, most of you out there probably have never heard the name Charles Richard Drew. Well, Dr. Drew was an African-American physician who developed a method of preserving and storing blood so that blood transfusions could be done just about any time and anywhere. In fact, his discovery saved thousands of Allied lives during World War II, and of course, many millions of lives since then. You probably also don't know there is a university in South Los Angeles that bears his name that is determined to continue his great legacy. August 11th, 1965, the beginning of one of the most explosive events in Los Angeles history. The Watts Riots, also known as the Watts Uprising, a rebellion against police brutality and widespread discrimination. By the time it was over 6 days later, the violence had done more than $40 million in property damage, left 34 people dead and more than 1,000 injured.
Okay, so now what's the next step?
But from the death, destruction, and disillusionment, a few rays of hope. One of the brightest, Charles R. Drew School of Medicine and Science in Willowbrook in South Los Angeles County.
The only reason we're here is to address the needs of the community that were voiced during the Watts Uprising. We're community founded, we're community serving. We want to make sure that we're community focused. We are indeed a private university focusing on this public mission of importance in community health care.
Founded in 1966 as a direct result of the Watts Uprising, Charles Drew University, CDU as it's known, is often referred to as LA's hidden gem, a beacon of light for communities where quality health care is sorely lacking for people who often need it the most.
When you look at disparities, this region is at the bottom in Los Angeles County for virtually every metric on health care that you can imagine.
The statistics are sobering, to say the least. African Americans live fewer years on average than whites. They're also more likely to die from treatable conditions. They are invariably at higher risk for chronic diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure. And COVID has only made things worse.
It can be a beta cell or a killer T cell.
CDU is trying to change that. The only historically black college and university west of Texas, more than 80% of the students and 71% of the faculty here are people of color. The second most diverse private four-year nonprofit college in the nation. That's important to nursing student Amaya Chapman.
When you're in a place where it's specifically made for minorities, you feel like the majority. And I think that's a comfortable setting to be in, to where you can actually focus on what you're learning and not necessarily what you're being a representation of.
Over the last 55 years, CDU has graduated more than 600 physicians and thousands of other healthcare professionals, including nurses, nurse practitioners, and physician assistants. But perhaps what's even more remarkable is that over 85% of those graduates say they plan to set up shop and provide care to underserved communities. And because it's a small school with about 1,000 students, there's a lot more one-on-one attention.
It's a struggle sometimes to try to ask questions in a classroom with 100 students, and so with it being maybe 20 students, that's perfect for anyone to get more of a hands-on experience.
The school recently received $50 million from the state and millions more from former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Money that will be used for financial aid and expanding CDU to a full four-year medical school, further fulfilling the school's slogan, a private university with a public mission.
Our vision statement is excellent health and wellness for all in a world without health disparities. We know this, we practice it. And when you talk to people at CDU, whether they're students, whether they're faculty, whether they're staff, they will typically say, I'm here because of this university's mission to serve the underserved. And that's why I came to this university.
And the university is also a leading research institution focusing on diseases and conditions affecting minority populations who are often underrepresented in studies as well as clinical trials.
My God, that's going to be the first time a lot of people are hearing about it, like you said at the outset. But I think that there's so many things that stuck with me. The fact that it's the only HBCU west of Texas.
West of Texas.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and the second most diverse university of its kind in the nation.
And the students are allowed to just focus on their studies and not have to worry about that notion what the student said about having to worry about who she is, how I look, getting along.
Yeah. Makes a big difference. And a lot of people also don't really know much about Charles Drew. First of all, he died at a very young age. He only lived to be 45. Imagine what he was able to accomplish
in those 45 years.
In those 45 years. He died in a car accident, tragically enough. But he was the first medical director of the American Red Cross, based strictly on the research that he had done
and what he invented,
that basically allowed the American Red Cross to exist.
Oh my goodness.
Because of his research, you know, blood transfusions could be done pretty much anytime, anywhere. He resigned.
Why did he resign?
As the first medical director of the American Red Cross, because he did not like their segregation policies. Because at the time, blood could not be given to people of different races. So if you were black,
you could not donate.
You could not donate blood to anyone of another color, and
he stood
vice
by
versa.
His morals.
And
he was
said,
the one
you know
that
what?
made this
I don't
possible,
like that.
and said, I can't abide that.
So he resigned.
What a remarkable individual, and to think that his legacy now continues, right? When you think about the impact that the university and the medical school is having in communities of color. By the way, all across the nation, because those students go on to practice. Oh,
absolutely. And the fact that more than 85% of them say that they are going to serve in underserved communities, that's quite remarkable.
His legacy continues on in each of them. Tony, this was terrific. Thank you so much.
No, I think it's the fact that we have such a place here and that so many people don't know about it.
Yeah. Well, now this many more people do, thanks to you. Happy Black History Month.
Well, same to you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Really great. Really